Hi, this is Mr. Ward. I'm doing a quick key for you on the Do Now 14.2. And we're going to consider these 2 points. We got 854 and 2422. So let's figure out what is the vertical change between them. So from 54 to 22, I'm actually going down. So that is a negative vertical change. So what I need to do is figure out what's the difference, and I'm going to have it be negative. So vertical change or change in y, okay, change in y, 7. Change in y is going to be if I want to know how much it changes from 54 to 22, what I'm really doing is 22 minus 54 because we're getting the difference. What is the difference between 54 and 22 in the 22 direction? So that's negative. So 22 minus 54 is going to be the negative of course, 54 minus 22. To make it a little simpler to work with, 54 minus 22 is 32. So the answer is negative 32. We have a negative vertical change of 32. So these 2 points were plotted. Here's my little graph. Okay, there's 854 up here and 2422, which is about there. So my vertical change is down negative 32. So negative 32. Cool. Now let's consider the horizontal change. So the horizontal change is going to be from 8 to 24. Now that's going to go up. So my horizontal change, okay, is going to be positive if I'm going in that direction. Okay, so from 8 to 24, so my change in x is going to equal 24 minus 8. Because what I want to know is from 8 to 24, what's the difference between 8 and 24 in a 24 direction? So that's going to be positive. So 24 minus 8 is 16. So that is a plus 16 change. So plus 16. Okay. And we call this my delta x. Delta means change. This was my delta y. Delta y means the change in y. It's the difference in the 2 y values. This is the difference in the 2 x values. And this symbol delta means that. It means difference or change. Okay, so now let's take a look at number 3. So we're going to create a fraction out of our vertical change and our horizontal change. And that's going to be negative 32 over 16. And then we're asked to reduce it. We can reduce negative 32 over 16. That's negative 2 over 1, which is simply negative 2. I've noticed a number of folks on your testing out getting correct answers, but not finishing the job of reducing it. If you have negative 9 over 3, you can go ahead and finish that and take it down to negative 3 over 1, and then that's just negative 3. You can just state it as negative 3. It's okay. It may be useful when plotting the graph to think of it as negative 3 over 1 because you're going to be going down 3 every time you go over 1 when you're graphing a line using slope. But this is what we've got. We got negative 2. So if you got negative 2, after reducing, I need to edit that, then you just found the slope of a line going through those 2 points. And here it is. The slope rise over run. In this case, our rise is negative, so you might call it a fall over our run. So if one of our point that we had 854, that would be 0.1. Okay, so we call this 0.1, and this is 0.2. Then the y2 is 22, and the y1 is 54 because it comes from the first point. Okay, and we subtract those. And then the x2 is from 0.2, so that'll be 24. And we'll subtract the x1 from that, and that's the 8 from 0.1. And we end up, of course, with this negative 32 over positive 16. And a negative divided by a positive is going to be negative. And of course, we can simplify it all into negative 2, as you saw. All right, now, Jimbo is at it again, and he's trying to find the slope for that line, but he, instead of getting negative 2, he got negative 1. And I can tell you exactly what he did. Instead of doing the y change over the x change, he did the x change over the y change. So he just flipped this fraction. So he did change of x over change of y. This is a very common mistake. I believe it largely happens because x comes first in the ordered pairs, and people grab that and plop that into the numerator because it's the first thing you're setting up in the fraction. Jimbo got the reciprocal of the slope because negative 1/2 is the reciprocal of negative 2. It's just the flip because negative 2 is negative 2 over 1. He got the reciprocal of the slope by finding change in x over change in y. Okay, if you find yourself getting that sort of answer, it's a pretty simple fix. Just flip the answer. Just try and remember you're getting the vertical change over the horizontal change. If you can, and the reason we're getting vertical change over horizontal change is we care about the change in the output compared to the change in the input. Thinking about like miles per hour, miles on a trip are going to be the output, and hours or time is going to be the input. Time is usually an input. And so we're thinking in terms of the output over the input, the change in the output over the change of the input when we're thinking about slopes. And the way that typically gets arranged on a graph is output is the y stuff and input is the x stuff. And that's why it ends up being vertical change over horizontal change. It's not purely arbitrary, except in that we chose vertical to represent outputs and horizontal to represent inputs. All right, I hope that helps. I will remind folks, you still can revise things from the past, but please be focused on the linear unit right now. Focus on that right now so that you get things off to a good start. Most of you are in good shape on that. And do the outstanding stuff in extra help sessions or for homework. I'm very happy to schedule extra help sessions to help you get things over the hump. Okay, I hope that helped, and I'm going to stop the